Wow. I mean, it was built up not just for the time that we knew it was on, but for years and years and years, Johnny. Tell me about your thoughts on the fight and whether or not it lived up to expectation.
It lived up to it and more. Manchester that week was absolutely ridiculous. The last time I saw the arena like that, and I've been to a lot of big fights there, was actually when Ricky Hatton boxed Costa Zoo. And I mean, it was standing room only. It was the vibe was second to none. The fight itself lived up to expectations because it created intrigue, drama, bad blood, things that were said that shouldn't have been said, PC and non-PC. These guys were prepared to. They had to. That was the only way this fight was going to get stopped, unless someone was knocked out cold. Someone had to save them from themselves, and the referee Victor Loughlin did the right thing. I actually thought Amir wasn't going to come out when I saw him walk back to the corner at the end of the 5th round. The stool was there, his corner men were stood there. It was like he was having a mid-conversation to say, "Get me out of here," because of the heat and the pressure Kell was putting on him. Dominic, his game plan was, look, put him under pressure first 6 rounds, he'll fall to pieces. And I remember when Tony Bellew boxed David Haye, and Tony Bellew started shouting out, "I want to fight David Haye," and I thought, wow, that's a big shout. And because Tony had seen something that the public hadn't seen in David Haye's last fight. He said he's gone, he's finished, he's got nothing left. I could see it. I saw Amir Khan box Terence Crawford, and I've always been a big fan of Amir's speed, his movement, and for the first time I saw he looked vulnerable. And so if there was ever a time he was going to take the fight, it should have been before the Terence Crawford fight. It should have been, but now was the wrong time, because if you're going to go in there, you're not going in there with that speed that you have and you think you have. That's the worst place to find out. And he found out fight night, where he thought Kell was beating him at everything he threw, was able to evade the shots coming through, was able to stun him with a simple jab. And I'm not saying Amir Khan was washed up. I'm saying he was not the fighter he was, and neither was Kell. But for those two, they matched each other perfectly. And losing, getting up Sunday morning for Amir Khan will hurt like hell. He'll get over it. I think losing to Kell Brook would have almost killed him. And I think it's something that he's dreamed of. He's been pushing for. He's been anchoring for. He's made enough noise about it. He made himself look silly chasing after. Now he finally got it. He got his wish, and it came true.
I think Khan was very respectful after the fight, though, Johnny. Like he said, look, the better man won. Do you think he's lost that little bit of love for boxing? I think you've got to be the desire. Looked like Kell Brook had that bit more desire and said, "I can't lose it. I can't lose this fight. Whatever happens, I'm not going to lose this fight."
Harry, you know what? After the fight, Noel Gallagher of all people, telling me, and I thought, God, you got it right. He said, Kell came to win. Amir came to not lose. Now, you've got to go in there. You either go in there with a hunter's mentality, so you know what you want, you're chasing, you're dogging, or you're going there with a hunted mentality. And the way Amir was fighting, he thought, I've just got to do this and not lose. Kell wanted to beat him up. He wanted to smash him. He wanted to win. The love of it, listen, certain fighters, when you get to a certain stage in life, and both fighters are there, they could only ever train for those two, each other like that way. They couldn't train for anybody else like that, because that is to the core. And I knew that because Kelly committed to it 110%. And Amir oddly enough, went to Bo Mack, the coach of Terence Crawford, who beat him. And I'm thinking, Bo Mack, what did you see in the ring, in the gym? If you were saying that Kell Brook has washed up his whatever, you were training Amir Khan. You knew what he had. You knew what he could do. So was the claims by Dominic true? Was it about the money going in? No, or did you say, look, you've got to change your tactics. You've got to take it to him. You've got to walk him down. Don't just spend on his speed. And that's the responsibility of a trainer. That's the responsibility of a coach and the people around you in the gym. But for the fighters themselves, I think, remember Nigel Benn when he quit mid-fight in his last fight? We never expected that from Nigel Benn. When that's gone in your heart as a fighter, it's gone. And when I saw Amir Khan walk to the corner at the end of the 5th round, I thought, he wants out. And when a fighter's there, there's nothing I can say to put it back in there.
Johnny, I wanted to ask, because we heard Conor Benn talking about how he fancies that fight. He fancies Kell Brook next. He said, I'll fight him at 150. Doesn't bother him or his team. What do you think Kell should do now? Should he continue to fight? Do you think he's got another fight in him? Do you think it's Conor?
I personally, and I'm quite sure they're not going to listen to me, I think he should quit. I think he, because listen, what happens is now you're going to be becoming a gatekeeper, a test line for the young up and coming youngsters. And one of them's going to do you, because Father Time catches up on us all. And we know Kell Brook has been brilliant. We know Kell Brook has been at the highest of the high. And for like it or not, you know, you get it with a lot of footballers, you get it in any sport. When you've been at the top of your sport and you know what you can do mentally, physically your body will not react and match that. So then you get in with somebody that's not got half as much intelligence or craftsmanship as you, running rings around you because of their pace. If I was Kell, I'd say, you know what, walk away on top. It's the greatest feeling. It's hard because they dangled some juicy millionaire carrots in front of you, but it's the greatest feeling to say, you know what, I'd quit on top. Lennox Lewis did it, I did it. And fight, as you ask the fighters that quit on top, and even though it's tempting, you can sleep at night. You can talk about this fight game with pride. Joe Kazaki, they're up there and you're thinking, I did that. And nobody can ever take it away from me in the history books. He's
Johnny,
not running.
Johnny, Neil Warnock here, John. You know the...
Hi, mate.
Ah, yes, from a Sheffield. I mean, he was always going to win, coming from Sheffield, wasn't he? But what I was going to ask you is, I agree with what you said. I thought even before the fight, the fight was won, and about the hunger that either of them wanted. But what I was going to ask you is, you know, when you come into the end of your career, did you ever go in the ring, not really wanting to go in the ring, knowing before you went in, this isn't for me?
Yeah, Neil, I got my gypsy's warning when you've got to train, you've got to get up at a ridiculous hour in the morning when it's pouring down the rain and you've got to go running. And I happily rolled over and had no guilt in rolling over. And I did that and fell asleep. When I woke up again, I thought, oh my God, your day's coming. And I knew my last fight that was penciled in, I was going to announce my retirement, because I thought, you cannot do this because you're going to get turned over, because I knew that hunger was starting to sink away. So I was prepared to give it that speech if it wasn't through injury. But you've got to be honest with yourself, and it's hard to juggle. You can go out there for the money, but then you're gambling your pride. But when you've gone out for the money, you've got turned over. You think, why did I do that? Amir Khan, he probably really thought he could beat Kell because of all this time of the path of their careers. But reality kicked in on the biggest stage ever, and that is going to be hard to swallow.
I just wanted to finish off as well, because all the credit will go to Kell, because he did look fantastic and won it fair and square. But it's easy to forget the career that Amir Khan has had in the build up to this, and it's probably quite right that we give him credit for everything he has achieved.
And that's the problem. This fight blitzed everything that both fighters have achieved, because it was about each other. This is what people are going to talk about. They're not going to be talking about the amazing fights with the likes of Devin Alexander when he's gone out there, box Marcus Maidana. Amir Khan was fast as hell. You know, he was on point. But unfortunately, the masses, the people outside of that boxing circle, the fans that watched this, the millions around the world that watched it, all they'll say is, Amir Khan got beat by Kell Brook. And you've got to put it down to understanding of the game, understanding of the psychology of our game. And it's going to be so hard. And they'll be forever reminding people, yeah, but I did this. Yeah, but I did that. And that's why this fight was so important to both fighters, because they knew whatever they'd achieve would be blitzed from this fight from Saturday night.
Johnny, thanks so much for coming on this morning. Excellent coverage from you and the team as well.
Sweet, thank you.
Thanks, Johnny.